I guess it's good afternoon. You know, when I got here 2.5 years ago, you had to get permission for council to work after 12. So the good news is that's all been corrected. Houston is a strong city. It got stronger today with 15 to 1 vote to support the budget, and it lays the foundation for Houston to be on sound financial footing going forward. Certainly is not the final solution, but certainly addresses our basic services, our finances, our public safety. I could go through the departments, drainage, others that got the benefits of this budget, certainly solid waste, and did it without raising property taxes. You don't raise property taxes when people are concerned about affordability. And that's been repeated as we traveled across Houston presenting this budget. And I'd like to stop and thank all the community groups, the Chamber of Commerce's, the diverse interest groups that endorsed this budget. We had like 90 briefings, got letters of support from the Houston Partnership, Labor Council, Acres Home Chamber, West Side Association. So this is really a budget supported and presented by Houstonians. Houston is definitely headed in the right direction, and we'll build on this. We'll collaborate with all levels of government. There's no question as we go forward with the growth that we're experiencing, we've got to get partnerships with the state, the federal government, and certainly I want to thank our leaders at the county. You know, there's so many things I'd like to speak of. I know you want to focus on the budget, which I'm proud to do, but each of you ought to go visit the Fan Fest, see what the Sports Authority has presented in the host committee. Replacing and adding additional new leadership at the Sports Authority was a bold decision that we had to take about a year ago, and you're seeing the positive results of the Sports Authority and their leadership with Ron Walsh, Juan Garcia. So take that in. You really ought to examine emancipation. We've got almost 200 individuals that 2 weeks ago were sleeping on the streets. Now they're being housed and actually leaving after they've been assisted in where they ultimately need to be. So a lot of exciting things going on. FIFA, certainly we'll have first game tomorrow, but our game will be Sunday. We're prepared. And I want to thank all the department heads and the collaboration there with the county, Metro, the airport. Really a lot to be excited about. I want to thank the council members. They showed a lot of understanding today. They knew that no budget is perfect. I never held it out as perfect, having participated in the budget process at the state level for 50 years. It's easy to vote no on a budget. You can always find something you don't like. But with doing your homework with a good staff, having courage to make tough decisions, that's what we witnessed today. Some are having too much fun back there. What can I do for y'all?
When should Houstonians expect to start paying the fee? When should Houstonians expect to start paying the fee?
July 1, I believe.
Okay. Is that going to be on the residents' water bills? Okay. And I was curious too, when should people expect to see services start improving?
We're already seeing improvements. You know, it's amazing. I mentioned in the discussion, we monitor very carefully the calls that we receive at City Hall. Since the new leadership in solid waste in public works has actually been assisting them for several months now. There's been a reduction of calls and concerns. Response time has improved. So I think you can expect noticeably improved services real soon. but they're already, I can't say enough about Mr. Hassan, the leader. He took over a broken department, and that's one of the concerns that we had, that we not put additional monies in solid waste until we had a better model. It was an absolute broken model that I took over 2.5 years ago. They weren't working on Wednesday unless you wanted to get overtime. The city had bought used trucks for years, so half the trucks were in the shop. We bought 50 new vehicles, didn't even waste time to paint them, saved $3,000 per vehicle, the white ones. So there's been a lot of improvement, but obviously a lot of focus today was on illegal dumping. If you go back and look at video, at my announcement, I believe homeless was the #1 thing I mentioned that created so much concern, and then solid waste. Obviously, public safety, if we're not safe, nothing else matters. We've hired 800 new police officers in just 2.5 years, 600 firefighters. That will dramatically impact the overtime. We're reviewing that, we're auditing it. So I'm just a really proud mayor today that we passed this budget, and Houstonians know we're headed in the right direction as I cross this city, often by myself.
Can you talk about the $6 subsidy fee for, I guess, some neighborhoods?
No, that was something the city arranged years ago. They did not believe, long before I got here, that they couldn't give the service in some areas, and they thought it was a cost-effective item to subsidize the $6. Most of those neighborhoods pay $30, $40 for their garbage service. And I think as we go forward, we'll certainly review the merits of that, but you only pay the garbage administrative fee if you're getting city services. So those unique circumstances across the city, which I inherited, will be closely examined. And for certain, the elements of privatization. The problem is with privatization is it's expensive. You have to be concerned about the retirement plan for their workers. And, but, you know, as we go forward, let me just tell you something. I ran for mayor to fix things. If things were perfect, I would have never run for mayor. And some of our critics have been here like 6 years longer than I have. So we're very proud of our record. We know for a fact Houston's getting safer. Still have much to do, but HPD's response time is down to 5.6 minutes for Code 1, shortest in anyone's memory. I'm not satisfied with that. So we have a lot of work to do, but today is a proud moment. Houston is stronger today because of this budget, because of the leadership that was exhibited around this horseshoe, and certainly the departments. But I can't say enough about the community. We had over 90 briefings in every corner of the city, and we received letters of endorsement from over 30 groups, very, very diverse. But, you know, the council speaks for itself. What can I say that Councilmember Alcorn didn't say to shed light on the process, transparency, to put a face on it? You know, I was known in Austin when we would deal with a complex issue, you try to bring it down to the people that are impacted. So you say, put a face on this. You cut this item, tell me about the persons it was serving, or put money over here, tell us how it's going to impact that individual. And we've done that in this budget. I can't say enough about.
Did you mention when residents will see this change on their bill already?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you
July
say?
1 is when I understand, yes.
Okay, you said services are already kind of starting to roll out.
There's no question, if you look at the calls that we get here, not the old calls that some of y'all used before you got to Houston, but the day-to-day calls for the last 3 to 4 months since we had a new director, new energy, new thoughts. We actually had Public Works helping solid waste for the last several months. The calls to City Hall have been significantly reduced. Still, we have a heavy trash challenge, which is being addressed with the new leadership. And then we all know illegal dumping, certainly in the neglected neighborhoods. But you can see the passion and commitment of the council, my administration. You know, it doesn't get reported what Joby Allen in the private sector did 2 months ago. 511 tons of illegal dumping removed. The problem is sometimes it shows up again in about 2 weeks. So we're going to get those violators, working with HPD, cameras. HPD arrested someone at their house yesterday because they'd been identified. So we got to do an enforcement, deterrent, and then improve the city services at the drop-off. You go to Sunnyside drop-off, very limited hours, people dump it there in the neighborhood. North Main and Cross Timber is the same. So we got a lot of work to do. And like I said a while ago, if things were working well, I'd be in the Senate. I was asked by Houstonians to run for mayor. And today is a real example of why I ran for mayor and why I look forward to coming to work each and every day.
Mayor, it is a complex issue, this budget. And, you know, many people who have spoken wildly in opposition of it, including the controller, says that 12 months from now, the city won't be able to pay its bills. Where do you see you and the council?
And I respect him. He has certified the budget. So if it is so bad, as some critics say, yes, ask him why he certified.
He said he was obligated to.
No, he's not obligated. He's obligated to the duties in the charter to see that we have monies to pay our bills. Councilor Ramirez did a good job of saying we are required by charter, by law, to have a balanced budget. And all due respect to the controller, last year he said we'd raise property taxes last fall. He was wrong then, he's wrong now. And I'm proud of the results today. 15-1, you know, when's the last time? And we did it without ARPA, COVID funding under the previous administration. So, you know, make sure we're comparing apples and apples. We did this through efficiency. The Ernst & Young report is the smartest thing I've done. 1,056 employees took retirement. We balanced the budget to efficiency, collaboration. And you know what? I don't know if you were there at my announcement when we talked about illegal dumping and the priorities I'm running. I also said I wouldn't ask for additional revenue until we eliminated waste, duplication, conflicts of interest, and corruption. And we still have work to do on all 4 of those items. There are still conflicts of interest, and we're still discovering, and people are being investigated for corruption, waste of taxpayers' dollars. And we're going to go after it aggressively, working with all the different agencies. I said that, and I mean it.
Mayor, the city now has an additional $300 million to address illegal dumping. Could you tell us which neighborhoods would be addressed first?
Obviously, the neglected neighborhoods. It's pretty obvious, not only from illegal dumping, but we have neighborhoods in Houston that have been neglected, their drainage, their roads, their public safety. It's pretty obvious. I've traveled this city. I grew up here. I know when I would go north, there's a high school up Ella Boulevard in high school. When the hell had that been? In the 60s. Pinemont. You got Oak Forest Garden Oak south of Pinemont. Go north on Wheatley. Look at the conditions. They didn't have city-provided bridges across the open ditches on Wheatley. People had to scramble to do the best they could. That made an impression on me as an 18-year-old senior. This ain't right. And then you could go look at health care, where the multi-service centers were. So, of course, we're going to focus on those neglected communities. That's why I ran for office. Councilmember Jackson did such a great job last year with amendments to get additional drainage money, ditch recapture. All those funds are included in this budget. And like I said, it's easy to be a critic. You know, where's a plan from the critic? I was in the legislature 50 years, and if you didn't have a plan, and I'm not talking about concepts, you weren't allowed in the legislature to be a critic or vote against the budget unless you had a specific proposed budget yourself. A lot of work goes into a budget. As the gentleman said, it's complex, and it's a building block. I know what the future for Houston's finances look like, and we're already planting the seeds, talking to state leadership, our county partners, about finding that additional resources. You know, we woke up with 2.3 million Houstonians this morning. 700,000 traveled to Houston today to work and attend events. Our challenge is to get those individuals to want to live in Houston. And you know what? It's working. Go look at Central Houston. Go across the street to Tranquility Park. You want to see why I ran to fix Houston? Tranquility Park had been neglected, forgotten, a homeless encampment. Go look at it today. We're going to start having farmers markets there on Saturday morning, concerts. Go to George Brown. We are becoming a destination for events. It's unbelievable. Doubling the size of the George Brown, increase in sales tax, hotel occupancy tax. We have been discovered, and I'm very proud. I don't want to pick on our sister cities, but they're not meeting their challenges like we are. Mayors call me and say, how are you doing it? They drive to Houston and they see the change in downtown Houston. We have such a special event center now with the George Brown, anchored by 2 sports facilities, and people coming to FIFA talk about it. But we're not through. We're just getting started. We've done this in 2.5 years with leadership, transparency, and honesty. So,
Mayor, the group here today was,
Who?
they were, the group that was upset at the end of the meeting, I spoke to them, they were upset about the right-of-way utility fee that's now going to be coming out, and they're worried about what that's going to mean to their neighborhoods, flooding, water, critical infrastructure projects.
well, you saw the council members that represent those areas enthusiastically support this budget, as I did. We included provisions for their flooding, their drainage, their ditch recapture. I understand their frustration and cynicism, quite frankly, at the government because they've been neglected for years. But that's the old model. We presented a new model today. And, you know, the council understood that. The council members, let me tell you what's exciting today. And I hope y'all took notice. The coming together of a council, diverse, with very unique districts. Huffman, Vice Mayor Peck, West Side Houston Association endorsed it. On the east side, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce endorsed it. But look at just the bodies around this, in the leadership around this horseshoe. Councilmember Martinez has been working in the direction that this budget carries us for years as a staff member. There's people been here for years. Alcorn mentioned 10 years. I've been here 2.5. I'm excited. We're moving in the right direction. And you know what? Houstonians know it, feel it, and realize it. So,
Mayor, there were several concerns. There were some comments about overtime spending and how they wanted that closely monitored. What are your plans for that?
Well, first of all, I'm in daily contact with fire and police. They understand. Police is reducing their overtime largely through the hiring of additional officers. 800 have been hired in just 2.5 years. There'll be over 1,000 in a short while. So they're becoming more efficient. They're using technology. So I feel very confident that the police are headed in the right direction. Now, keep in mind, you have to give them the resources for the unexpected storms, protests, tragedies. and the patrol and traffic. We have today a traffic control enforcement surge going on right now. Someone called me this morning, there were 10 people on I-10 pulled over due to violations. So that we're expecting more from our police than ever before. The community comes forward and asks for it. Fire, we need to look at their model. But they're working hard. But we got a new chief. Keep in mind, leadership matters. It starts at the top. So, you know, yesterday the fire union came forward with an international study based on old information. Yes, we still have challenges in every department. I'll put it this way. We have a challenge in every department, but we're meeting our challenges with good, honest, professional directors and consolidation. So just stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more efficiencies, consolidations, and the benefits go to the Houstonians. I want to thank Houstonians. This budget is a product of Houstonians. Not everyone agrees, but most people understand it's complex. It didn't get this way overnight. You know, I think it's interesting to make an observation. I'm the first mayor to follow a previous administration that was there for 8 years. Before that, it was just 2-year terms, and you could serve 3 of them. So the dynamics of city government have changed. And I have the opportunity to put a model in place that's transparent, does not kick the can down the road, realizes it's going to take time, but today is something to recognize that 15-1 of diverse council members supported a budget, not just vote, they gave speeches in support of it. And they corrected a lot of the misinformation that's been. One of the frustrating things I have to do is listen to the critics and not respond because it's not productive to engage people that they know they're wrong. They know they're wrong. Some of my critics have actually put in writing what they thought we should do last October. We adopted a lot of that. So anyway, that's just part of it. I've been at this long enough to know. Unfortunately, the ugly part of politics will surface when it should be kept out in the hall.
Now, with Councilmember Peck's amendment to put a cap on the $5 fee, and that after the 2 years, there's going to be a change to the ordinance for any fees, for the fee to be raised. Do you see any concerns with that, or?
You know, when I rolled it out a month ago, that's the exact language we use. The administration fee is just that. I understand it's easy and easy reporting to just say garbage fee of $5. No, it's not. It's not even large enough to be considered a garbage fee. It's an administrative fee to handle the consolidation of 2 complex systems. We said at the rollout, it'll be that $5 for the next 2 years. It will not go any higher until council votes, considers exemptions, and how well are the departments doing under this new model. Let me emphasize too, you know, solid waste used to be in public works until the mid-90s. And ever since then, it's been the stepchild. It was created as a separate department, I'm told by those that were here, because the administration wanted to create a director for someone, wanted someone to become a director. And the sad news is, it lost its resources. Public Works has challenges. Now we're going to bring them together and we're going to consolidate them, and you'll see better services. But the Peck amendment, Salinas, all of us were recognizing that we need to consider the hardships. The reason it's $5 is I didn't want to go above the shock of what some people want. I mentioned it, who was talking? I guess Martinez proposed not he proposed, but there was a group of council members a year ago wanted to go to a 25 start-up garbage fee. And I said, no, let's make certain we can improve the services. And that would have been unreasonable. So we looked at the administrative cost. That's where we arrived at $5. I understand it's a hardship. I understand that. And we're going to deal with exemptions and probably include veterans in the same group and anyone else some people want to come forward with. But this is a good budget, sound, financial, responsible, and addresses Houston's concerns. Public safety, still, oh, you want to talk about the overtime. I'm never going to not give fire and police the resources they need to address our public safety. It is Houston's #1 concern. We don't want to be wasteful, but we want to be effective. With that, y'all have a good day.